Beautiful. Everyone, where are you guys from? We want to see. Greenwich, Connecticut. I had me and my wife did a little two bed, one bath for the weekend, like as a little staycation from New York. It was amazing. I love Greenwich. Nice little town. Where are we looking? Brazil. Toronto represent. Nice. Milwaukee. How do you pronounce that one in Maine? That looks amazing. Millinocket. Millinocket, did I get it? Sweet. Nice. Miami. We got any New York in the house? I'm a little selfish to New York. Yes. Sandy, hello. I hope you like downtown. I'm a big Tribeca and Brooklyn guy. I'm not a uptown one. Beautiful. Perfect weather in New York City. Also, it's a perfect time to be a Knicks fan, team. How about that? Who watched that game? That was the fourth game was the craziest one I've ever watched personally. Craziest sports game I've ever watched. It was crazy. Amsterdam. Amsterdam is my favorite city in the world. I love it. I think it's objectively the best city in the world. Amazing. Right. Aaron's on point. It's I me and my wife go like we our quota is we must go to Amsterdam 3 times a year. That is our minimum. It is unacceptable if we don't go to Amsterdam 3 times a year. It means we're not having actually funny enough, like we both work our booties off, but our work-life balance actually comes from hitting Amsterdam 3 times a year. Sandy from a Deadhead. Ah, my favorite. Got my heart. I actually, if someone is a true Deadhead, you guys can pick under here. This was one of Jerry Garcia's early guitars. Fun, fun. Awesome. Well, let me get two more locations of where y'all are from. I see a beautiful 83 humans in here. Two more locations, and then we'll talk about e-commerce if anyone's here to hear about that. Daniel, yes, there will be a copy after this. You guys can watch the whole thing. Detroit, Sonoma County, Israel, beautiful. Philippines, LA, way above quota. Sweet. We're gonna have a great crowd here. I love this. This is amazing. If you guys want to make me extra happy, just keep lighting up the chat. I'm gonna pause people. If you guys don't participate in the chat, I'm literally gonna pause it and no one's allowed to speak here until the chat is lit up. So everyone here prepared, took their time, that kind of thing. And all I beg of you guys is to light up the chat, please. All right. All right, chat. We good? We ready to go in? We're going to get to hear from the amazing Sarah first. All right. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen up in here and we're going to go to slideshow. So, as you guys, I'm sure have seen, uh, man, I can't get the chat. Cool. I can pick up the chat and I'll be right over here. Amazing. Beauty. So, sure you guys have heard of this thing called AI. It's pretty useful. I highly recommend. I love it. The other day I got called that my personality is AI, and I was like so upset at how right they were, which is fine. So let's rock and roll. Sarah, we got you first over here with Gorgeous. Why don't you take it away, Sarah?
Thanks, Dylan. I appreciate you. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Kang with the Gorgeous team. Really excited to be with you all. Thanks for joining us. I actually want to start with something that's becoming increasingly clear in e-commerce. So, when brands are kind of looking at why customers don't convert, just to jump right into it, we usually look in the same few places. So, you're looking at funnels, you're looking at customer attribution, you're looking at just flow of checkout, product pages, heat maps, all of it. And of course, all of that really does matter. But one of the things that customer conversations reveal is a surprising number of purchases don't disappear because customers weren't interested. They actually disappear because the customers themselves weren't certain. And that's a very different problem. A shopper can absolutely want your product and still not buy it. They can get close to checkout and still hesitate, and they can really be ready to move forward, but then they pause because they have that unanswered question. And that's causing that uncertainty, and they're not fully confident about their purchase. So, again, often the issue isn't lack of intent, it's just friction. And friction often shows up as a question. And the challenge, I think, is that brands don't always see that clearly. So, what is interesting about some of the statistics I have on the screen, hopefully you can see them all, is I don't think that they're actually telling us a story about AI. I think they're actually telling us a story about customer expectations. So take the first number here on the screen that we see in the middle. 61% of customers are already using AI while they shop. And when I first saw that stat, I wasn't thinking about technology. I was actually thinking about behavior. Because what it actually tells me is that customers are becoming increasingly comfortable asking questions as a part of their everyday buying journey. They're not just browsing products anymore, they're actively seeking guidance. They're asking AI to compare products, to summarize reviews, to recommend options, and then ultimately help them make decisions. And once customers get used to that experience, they start expecting the same thing from brands. The second statistic I find the most telling is that 93% of shoppers say it's becoming more important for e-commerce sites to understand conversational questions. Think about what that really means. Customers aren't saying they want better search functionality. They're not saying they want more product pages. They're actually saying that they want to communicate with you naturally. They want to ask a question the same way they'd ask a friend or ask someone standing next to them in a store. And they really expect the brand to understand them and understand what they're asking. And to me, that's a real fundamental shift in e-commerce today because historically, customers have had to adapt to the website. And today, the expectation is that the website adapts to the customer. And then there's that third statistic. So during BFCM, AI-powered shopping interactions actually increased by 42% and contributed to a 4% year-over-year increase in sales. So 4% might not seem huge at first, but in e-commerce, especially during periods like BFCM, a 4% lift is pretty incredible and meaningful. And what I find interesting is kind of why that happens. I don't think customers suddenly decided to buy more because AI exists. I think customers are getting answers faster, they're getting clarity faster, and they're getting certainty a lot faster. And when you remove that uncertainty, people want to move forward. Dylan, if you could skip ahead to the next slide, thank you so much. And at Gorgeous, this is exactly why we care so much about customer conversations. Because what we're seeing across e-commerce is that support is no longer something that just happens after a purchase. It's increasingly a part of the buying journey itself. Every day, customer conversations reveal where shoppers are getting stuck. They reveal kind of the decisions that are slowing them down, and they're revealing where that confidence really breaks down before customers are ready to move forward. And once you start looking at conversations through that lens, you realize something really important. A lot of these aren't just support interactions, they're all commercial moments. They're moments where a shopper is deciding whether to buy, keep browsing, trust your brand, or just leave altogether. And that's why Gorgeous is focused on conversational commerce, helping e-commerce brands really manage all of those conversations across the full customer journey from pre-sales to post-sales. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Because if conversations are helping to shape confidence, and that confidence is actually helping shape conversion, it's influencing revenue directly. Okay, so what does Gorgeous do? At a high level, we'll breeze through this pretty fast, but Gorgeous is helping brands deliver better customer experiences through conversations across the entire shopping journey. On the pre-purchase side, that means helping shoppers get answers fast and discover the right products, move past hesitations in real time. And on the post-purchase side, it means really helping customers resolve common questions quickly, things like shipping updates, returns, exchanges, order changes, things like that. And when a conversation needs a bit more nuance, more empathy, maybe more judgment, the help desk gives the human team, support team, foundations really to step in seamlessly and help support. And that's really what makes this model so powerful. It's not about always choosing between AI and human support, it's about using both of them in the right way. AI can obviously today handle high volume, repetitive, and time sensitive moments pretty quickly. And then your human teams can really focus on where they add the most value. And ideally, the customer experiences that are connected conversations rather than like two separate systems are the best ones. And when we talk about removing frictions, we're really talking about removing kind of three things altogether. We're talking about really focusing on fast answers, relevant context, and smooth human handoff when it really matters. And to me, this is one of the most important mind shift changes that's happening in e-commerce. Historically, support and revenue were often treated as separate conversations altogether. Marketing is driving revenue, sales is driving revenue, and then support is just handling issues. And because of that, support often has been framed really as a cost center. It's important and it's necessary, but it's mostly measured by efficiency. But again, like I talked about in the last slide, that customer behavior has really changed. And today, shoppers are reaching out before they buy. They're asking questions when they're evaluating. They reach out when they're comparing products, checking policies, or just trying to reduce risk before they commit to a purchase. And when that happens, support is no longer sitting outside the commercial journey, it's sitting inside of it. Pre-purchase conversations is not just a service interactions, it's actually a signal of intent. It means the customer is engaged. They're close enough to buying, and that one good answer that you provide as a brand could help move them forward. And that's why support has become such an important growth lever. Not because support teams need to become sales reps per se or AI sales tools, it's because removing friction is one of the most effective ways to influence conversion. When a team answers the right question quickly, they're not just resolving the ticket, they're helping to unlock revenue. And that's a more strategic way to think about support. So what does this look like in practice? On the pre-purchase side, one of the biggest opportunities is reducing friction directly on the product detail page because that's when hesitations often show up. A shopper is interested, they're evaluating, they're close, but they still have those questions. They're wondering maybe what product is right for them. Maybe it's a makeup brand and they want a shade match. They want to know about sizing, ingredients, compatibility. There are so many questions that could come up. And if they can't get that answer quickly, that momentum is going to start to fade. And that's where some kind of shopping assistant becomes really, really powerful. Instead of forcing shoppers to search through your product page, FAQs, or policy pages, AI can engage them in a natural, conversational way in your brand's tone of voice, which is so important when they need help. It can answer those pre-sales questions instantly, recommend the right products, and help the customer narrow down some choices. And I think all this really matters because, again, these aren't support questions. These are conversion questions. They're signals that a customer is interested enough to buy, but they need that confidence. And when AI can help resolve that hesitation in real time, right on the PDP or in the shopping journey, it directly removes friction before the customer drops off. So the value here is not just fast answers, it's helping shoppers make the right decision in the right moment.
Amazing.
Thanks, Don. The second opportunity starts after purchase because once an order is placed, customers still want speed and clarity and reassurance. But at that point, questions usually change. Now, the questions that come in are more of the traditional support questions that we've seen come into a help desk. So, like, where's my order? Can I make a change? How do I start a refund? When will I get my refund? And the reality is, a very large share of support ticket volume comes from these kind of repetitive post-sale interactions. For many brands, that can actually be between 60 to 70% of all of their entire support conversations that are coming in. And that's exactly where AI can have an immediate operational impact. AI can actually automate high volume post-sale questions like where is my order, returns, exchanges, order updates, consistently without making customers kind of wait for that human team to step in. They can get those answers within seconds. And that's a better experience for your customer. It's a better operating model for the brand, and customers get quick answers to really routine questions, and support teams get time back to focus on more complex, high value conversations. It really ultimately helps the business scale without sacrificing any friction. I want to get into a real-time example, and I've highlighted a customer of Gorgeous's here, Psycho Bunny. This story isn't just about using AI to automate more. It's actually a story about scaling the customer experience without adding more friction. So as brands obviously grow, conversations grow with them, and that means more traffic, more pre-purchase questions, more orders, more complexity in general. And historically, growth like that means one of two things. Either service quality declines or teams have to keep adding that headcount just to keep up. And what's interesting about brands that adopt AI well is that they create really a different path. They use AI to handle the most common high volume questions quickly and consistently, and then free up their teams to focus on the interactions that really require human judgment in the moment. And that outcome is what brands are really looking for. They want growth without sacrificing quality, responsiveness, and making customers work harder to get those answers. And to me, what's really strong AI adoption looks like is not more automation just for the sake of using automation, but better customer experience that really scales with the business. And you can see some of the stats here on the screen that Psycho Bunny experienced when implementing Gorgeous across their business. They had a 40% automation rate, no additional headcount added while scaling to 300 million. Perfect. Okay, I know I breezed through a lot of that really fast, so just leaving you with one final thought. If you want to really find hidden opportunities to improve conversion, increase trust with your customers, and grow revenue, I think spend more time in your customers' conversations because that's when the friction really becomes visible. You'll see what customers are unsure about, you'll see where they hesitate. You'll learn kind of what's standing between interest and action. And once you can identify those moments, you can really do something about it. You can get answers fast. You can really guide your customers more effectively. So if there's one takeaway I'll leave you with is don't just look at how do I automate more. Really look and ask where your customers are losing confidence and how quickly you can restore it, and how then you can add in automation moments to be more successful. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Amazing. Sarah, that was outstanding. Love it. Beautiful. I see Raina, thank you. Can Gorgeous CX teams also support TikTok Shop?
We
There's one
can. We
question.
do have an integration. That's a really, really good question. We do have an integration with TikTok Shop. I know there's a ton of sales that are happening there, so that can be connected with your Gorgeous help desk. So you can see any CX inquiries coming in directly from TikTok Shop in your help desk instance.
Amazing and outstanding. Great work. So, I'm going to jump right into this one. I forgot who it was. One of our beautiful panelists here said that they know me from doing a couple of these, that I make the most founder slideshows, which I don't fully know how that means and if it's a good thing. But I'm going to race through this, guys, because this is a super simple, straightforward topic, and I've got a little treat for you guys. And it's not a discount or any bullshit like that. So, this is AI soup, which is the formula to marketing with AI. Uh, Karina forces me. If you guys know Karina, hello Karina. They forced me to talk about heat map, but I'm just here to help you guys on how to actually adopt AI. You guys one day can meet Jetson. He's my OpenClaw instance. If you guys want to talk about AI, it's literally my personality. So just a little on me. I'm Dylan. I'm the founder of heatmap.com. I've got 3 exits where I exited to ecom brands before I sold splittesting.com. We're the largest CRO agency in the ecom space, as far as I know. And now I'm the founder of heatmap.com. I myself have optimized 5 billion in ecom revenue and NCAA tennis player. And if someone wants to come out and hit in Brooklyn, you got it. But more so, I'm a deadhead, and I should probably swap that I'm a big deadhead and have seen a Dead and Co at least, I don't know, 20 times. So for heatmap.com, we've got some pretty awesome customers, if I say myself. So pretty exciting for pretty young company. People, I'm sure you guys know what heat maps are, but we're the only ones that actually tie revenue attribution to literally anything that happens on a website. Other than just being a heat map, we also have full web analytics, like a replacement for GA4. We have customer feedback surveys that are integrated. We have journey analysis that's, pretty great. We did make some innovations, especially on the UI, because I don't know about y'all, I do miss the old GA4, the old universal analytics for Google Analytics, but like we brought it back, fam. So if you guys aren't a heat map customer, it's pretty great. That's the most selling I'll do this whole time. So thanks for getting through. Funnels and screen recordings, we also got that. So 2 ways to turn AI into money. It is AI soup and meta prompting. Overwhelming slide, I'm very aware. So, how to approach CRO and actually optimizing your website most specifically, right? So CRO is not about finding what's working well. It's always what's finding what is not working well and fixing the problem, right? So, like how Sarah just gave an example where some tickets might be people are responding really, really well, go do more of that. CRO, people do look at the wrong way, which is they're going to just take, oh, this buy box works really well for us. We should just do more of them. That's actually not the way to really optimize a website. It's finding, oh, this, element over here converts like crap. Let's go remove that and replace it with something better. So that's the focus that we really want on how to approach CRO. And guess what? AI was literally purpose built for pattern detection. That is the whole point of what it is. So AI is objectively better with proper context. I'll talk about that in a second. Is better than finding problems, right? Than humans. Just truly is. And AI slop and AI soup are two very different things. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like eating slop, but I love soup. I don't know if you eat or drink soup, but whichever one it is, we like AI soup, right? So we're going to go off script for a second here, and I'm just going to literally do this live inside of FigJam. Can I get a thumbs up in the chat if you guys are able to see a nice, beautiful blank screen? Thumbs up. Okay, cool. That was Karina, but I'm going to need someone else as well. Okay, cool. So right here, what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to zoom in nice right here. And we're literally going to say AI soup, right? This AI soup here, this can be Claude, right? There's plenty of, it can be really LLM, any LLM. It can be chat, it can be that. It can also be a data warehouse, right? So, for my fellow nerds out there, you can put it into BigQuery, you can put it into Triple Whale, you can put it into a lot of different places, right? And the way that I like to look at it, let me get this bar just a little out of the way. So what we take here is like ad data, right? So you take your ads, you put it into here, you guys know the concepts. You'll take the same, you'll take your email data, you'll put it into your AI soup. And again, I'm sure you guys will start to catch the drift. You need to take your heat map data, whoever would have thought. I totally misspelled our company. It's Heatamp is kind of a cool name though. So you're gonna take your heat map data, put it in, and then just for gorgeous as well, right? So your CX and your, customer tickets, all that kind of stuff. Once you're here, you now have this beautiful AI soup of just literally everything. And this is my goal that I want to do. If I ever jump into net new companies or like brands and I go to help them, literally making this AI soup is like the first thing that I have. And the thing is, guess what? It takes literally no code. No code. Like nothing. You don't need to know how to code at all, right? So that's really one of the big things here that like we care about the most, right? So once we make our AI soup, now once you've done that and you've done it in a collaborative way for your team that you're able to make skills. If anyone's curious about Claude skills, that's something that I'm happy to help you guys with. Dylan@dylananner.com. You can literally email me there or Dylan at Heatmap. And I'm happy to share with you guys like how I actually go about it with it. Just didn't have enough time to be able to go into today. But what I wanted to show you guys there, the reason why we have all of that AI soup. So now, once you have your AI soup and you put everything together, there's four things that this AI soup and I find the most value for brands gets, which is how to prompt. You need to know how to prompt, which is the second part of what I'm going to give you here. There's monitoring, which is the cover your ass. So if there's ever any problems, you can shorten it. If you guys have heard of a cron job, I am an engineer, so I've been using cron jobs forever, but now everyone seems to love using the word because they know AI can make them a cron job. Which is just the same thing happening again and again, getting triggered. Then you have insights, which is what gaps you need filled. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to talk about here. And then minimizing mistakes. Just as I gave you that CRO example where you really need to understand what the problems are and not what the good thing is, right? I don't care like if something converts really well on my site. I sometimes care about it, but really nowhere as much as the opposite, right? So that's really what matters the most. And then meta prompting. This is something I kind of came up with myself. I don't know if we like it or not. Chat, I want a thumbs up or thumbs down if I should keep using this. But meta prompting is effectively the purpose. It's like how to prompt the right way. I've helped teach my teams how to do this good, which is the best prompting actually comes from asking how to prompt. I don't know about you guys, but as leaders, I personally don't tell my team, you must go do this. You must go do this. You must go do this. It's saying, hey guys, here's our goal. What do we think we should do to achieve it? And that those exact words that I just used is how you should speak to AI. And there's 5 ways that you can meta prompt and really have a good one. The way to do it is stating the outcome, not the instructions. So let's say I'm trying to become better at collaboration, right? I'm trying to get better at collaborating. Like, what do I do? Right? That one's very forward, how to meta prompt. But then you give it your raw materials and let it find the structure, which is, you guys can also screenshot this, by the way. It'll help you a lot. This is the AI soup example of 2, which is just learn how to prompt the right way. Don't just tell it what's wrong with my website or what's wrong with my marketing. That doesn't work well. Ask it to interrogate you. So all the missing pieces, right? So my CTO, Ken at Heatmap, he says he hates the word vibe coding because it's not vibe coding anymore. It's context engineering. The AI is so freaking smart that all it needs is context. That's what it's missing. So ask it to interrogate you, ask the most brutal, terrible questions. And I tell it to like literally be an FBI like hostage negotiator and like try to tell me I'm wrong. And we go back and forth. And then eventually I get my prompt and then I give it that prompt. Fourth is have it produce the prompt and then critique it. So I actually pin I pin like ChatGPT and Claude against each other, right? So I'm trying to literally say, hey, I'm trying to get this output from Claude. Give me a prompt to ask Claude. Then I'll say, hey, then I'll go over to Claude and say, hey, Claude, I wrote this prompt that I want to give over to ChatGPT. Can you refine the prompt to get this output? And I literally do that 3 or 4 times, and then I get a mega prompt, or as I would say, a meta prompt. And lastly is have it improve the prompt where these two are kind of, pulled together, right? So that's kind of what it's like. But now introducing the heat map API and MCP, which is fully in beta. Part of that, soup that I had given you guys before, everyone has ads, everyone has email, everyone has customer support. But this part right here, I guarantee none of you guys have. And that's what's super exciting, which I get to share with you guys today, literally in live time. And I love it. So every other platform tells you, like Triple Whale, for example, amazing at multi-touch and so many other things. There's Northbeam, there's so many like, analytics platforms, call it Hotjar, direct competitor, all of those. They don't tie revenue attribution outcomes to what's happening, but B, they don't tell you about what is happening on your website. And that really is the problem. So here's an awesome case study, but what I'm going to show you is literally a live time Claude, right? So I asked right before this, I noticed our add to cart rate on Latico Leathers, I just had to because I'm an admin, went up this week, right? So why? Why did our add to cart rate go up? It went through, it got the data. So this is also something that most companies don't even know about, which is called an MCP app. We literally have shit that loads inside of Claude for you as if you're using our app. So it shows the data. And it shows right in here, it went this number to this number. It shows all of these things. But now the open questions. Did the traffic mix shift? Did we do a promo sale? Any PDPs or changes lately? So now I said, great. Based on that, I'm trying to optimize my collection pages. Are there any products I should be prioritizing? So it gave me really useful ones. I wish I could do it right here. You know how Claude has those little pop-ups? It says, which collection page should I work on? And I said, crossbody, go for it. It literally went for it. And look at this. It's literally giving the elements on your website inside of Claude. Like literally down to every piece of data that you could ever imagine or want inside of here. So now it says on this collection page to productize, clearest pattern, there's a small few that are doing, the position. It says the Cali Sling bags, it's your standout, but it's also #1. Now, things that are more actionable, this Boone leather sling is very far down the page, but it should go up. This Athena leather crossbody should also go up even further. But now, by contrast, Nash and Bianca are both high up on the page, but they're not pulling in a lot. So it's literally telling you this as a CRO would take you, I don't know, a solid half hour, 45 minutes to be able to get that data. Now put it into your AI soup and Heatmap has it. So reach out to the team. It's part of the package right now. It's not even on our website. So if you guys came here, you got it first and you'll probably get a heck of a deal. But that's really what I got. I'm so pumped. We took my book, $1 billion Websites. I don't even have a copy around me. That's a shame. Usually I do. But wrote my book, did a lot, optimized billions in revenue, and now it's all available for you guys literally in your cloud. So much love. Hope you guys enjoyed. If anyone has a quick question, I can answer, but I want to get on to these other beautiful humans. Oh, it is on the site as of today. Just kidding. Thank you, Karina. Rock and roll. So if anyone has questions, Dylan@heatmap.com. I'll be there and happy to answer. So amazing. Spread through, rock and roll. Let's get over to QR code if you do want to get in there, no problem. Yes, AI is your next new employee, so feel free to get that, but just go to heatmap.com. It's nice and easy. So now we have Erin, a great friend of Heatmap, here
Thanks,
from
everyone.
AAA.
What a presentation to go after. I'm never going after you ever again. That was too good. That was too good. And the chat shows it. But I'm very excited for today. I'm very excited to be here. I'm pretty sure I have the longest presentation. So, guys, I'm going to try to zoom through this as fast as I can. But as Dylan mentioned, my name is Erin Watt. I am one of the tech partner managers here at Tripwhale. So today's session is all about building confidence using data and AI to prioritize what matters most. Because let's be honest, in the landscape that's forever changing, like this one, brands that win in 2026 and beyond won't be the ones doing more. They will be the ones making clear, more informed decisions earlier. But before we talk about those decisions, it helps to understand who is powering those insights behind them. Next slide, please. Who is Triple Whale? So many brands today are drowning in data, but they're starving for insights, and that's exactly where Triple Whale comes in. So Triple Whale is the complete intelligence platform that helps e-commerce brands confidently understand what's working, what's not, and what to do next. So we pull all of your lovely data into one place, give you the measurement tools to actually trust that data, and then use the smartest AI in the industry to translate that data into clear insights and recommendations. Next slide, please. And it isn't just theoretical, it is happening at scale. Today, Triple Whale is proudly the source of truth for over 60,000 innovative brands. That includes Peloton, Culture Kings, OG, Meshki, Bye Bye Baby. And we also do partner with more than 2,000 agencies across 80 countries and integrate with over 65 tech platforms from marketing, inventory, customer support, just to ensure that our customers get the most out of their data. If you do want to see what that looks like in practice, we do have a full library of case studies on our site. I highly recommend checking it out. I can also provide the link after the session. Okay, next, let's get into it. Next slide. Okay, so now that we know a little bit more Triple Whale, let's talk about a challenge almost every e-commerce team face right now. So we have more data than ever, more channels than ever, and yet it's not always easy to know what to do next. So most teams are not struggling because they lack information, they're struggling because they lack clarity. So every team is juggling signals from Meta, Google, TikTok, email, SMS, Shopify, analytics tools, and then of course you have probably your own internal reporting. So every platform claims performance. Every dashboard has a story, but those stories don't always match. And that's going to create a few different problems. So the first is going to be that data overload. So too many signals, not enough clarity. Then we're going to get slower decisions. So teams spend hours building reports instead of actually acting on them. And then the last is going to be those missed signals. So by the time you identify what changed, the opportunity is smaller or the problem is already just way too expensive. And that is why the real bottleneck is not actually accessing data, but it is prioritization. Next slide, please. So this presentation is really about to answer that one question. So how do we use data and AI to prioritize what matters most and then act on it faster? So I'm going to keep this really practical rather than walking through a list of tools. I want to share just a really simple framework supported from some examples from brands featured in Triple Whale's Speed Playbook that shows how faster growing teams make better decisions. So the framework has really 4 steps. The first is to find the part of the business that matters the most right now. So where are you losing the most revenue or where do the biggest opportunities exist? And then the second is make sure the data is real because not every dashboard tells the truth. Third, decide what action to take based on that insight. And then fourth, make sure that action actually improves performance. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's start with the leak that costs the most revenue. So when it comes to fixing problems in your business, the goal isn't to just find a problem, it's to find the right one. So here's what I mean. Most brands can look at their data and see where their customers are dropping off, but not every drop off is equally important. So a small leak in the right place, say right before someone makes a purchase, can actually cost you way more revenue than a bigger looking problem, maybe somewhere else in the funnel. So instead of chasing whatever looks the most dramatic, you want to connect your data back to actual dollars. So when you see which problems are costing the most revenue, you stop guessing and start making decisions that actually move the needle. Next slide, please. Talking so fast, my throat is starting to dry up. Okay,
Relatable.
so okay, so one great example from our speed playbook is Hack Club. So a brand known for their limited edition drops and complex product catalogs. Their team was sitting on a wealth of data, but turning into actionable insights just took hours. So with tools like Triple Whale's Moby AI, questions that once consumed half a day could be answered in just minutes. And as a result, they saved more than 10 hours per week and also reduced customer acquisition costs by 25%. So the big takeaway here, don't just go after the loudest problem, start with the issues tied to the most revenue. Okay, next one. All right, so once you've identified an opportunity, the next question is, can you trust the data? So this is where many e-commerce brands get stuck. So every marketing platform reports conversions, but if you add all those conversions together, the numbers don't often match reality. So multiple platforms may be taking credit for the same sale. And as a result, a channel can look like it's performing well in its own dashboard, even if it's not driving new growth. And that's why brands love to use tools like a marketing mix modeling or even incrementality testing. So if you don't know, marketing mix modeling estimates how much each marketing channel contributes to sales by analyzing changes in the market spend and even your own business performance over time. So it really helps to measure that incremental impact of each channel while also accounting for factors like seasonality, promotions, and pricing. So for example, while Google may receive the last click credit for a purchase, MMM can actually reveal that meta ads helped create the demand that ultimately led to that sale. And then when we look at incrementality test, it just takes measurement to that next step further by using controlled experiments to determine true impact. So for example, you might temporarily reduce ad spend in a specific channel and observe whether that sale actually declined. If sales remain unchanged, it suggests that the channel may not be driving as much incremental value as previously assumed. And this helps just prove whether the channel is creating new customers or simply taking credit for them. So together, these methods really help to answer an important question: which marketing channels are actually driving growth? And the big takeaway is really simple. Don't just rely on dashboards alone. The best decisions really do come from validating what is truly working. Okay, next slide. All right, so let's quickly look at two real world examples. So we have Crep Protect, a premier sneaker brand, sold in more than 50 countries. They actually utilize marketing mix modeling to better understand what's actually driving growth. So instead of relying on monthly reports and assumptions, they moved to weekly decision making. And then the result, a 34% increase in new customer ROAS in the first month, and then a 12% year-over-year growth in just over 3 months. And then if we quickly look over at Solus Bands, just a smartwatch brand company, before increasing spend, they just really wanted proof that their campaigns were truly driving sales, and using an incrementality holdout test on Google Performance Max, they're just able to measure the channel's real impact, and then test delivered 3 times incremental ROAS, giving them the confidence to actually scale that investment. Okay, next one. All right, so now after we know what to measure, the next challenge is now going to be speed. So even when the right data exists, many teams still lose time stitching all those reports together and investigating the anomalies, and then also just trying to explain what changed. And that is where AI can generally be useful, not as a novelty, but as a prioritization layer. So a really great example is at Outcast Clothing. Their team actually saw a 1,000% spike in TikTok traffic. Normally, that might have triggered hours of manual investigation. Instead, it caused the cause was actually explained in seconds, and they were able to adapt quickly. They were also actually able to utilize AI to identify their top European expansion markets based on AOV and growth potential in minutes rather than hours. So the broader point really is this: AI is the most valuable when it helps teams move from reporting to decision making. Not just what happened, not just why it happened, but what deserves attention right now. All right, so the next slide. Okay, so now let's just go back really quickly to the Outclass Clothing example. So they are a lean paid media team managing campaigns across multiple markets. So as I mentioned, they noticed that they had a 1,000 spike in organic TikTok traffic overnight. Normally uncovering that would cause hours and hours of digging through reports and social channels. Instead, Triple Whale's Mobi AI identified the reason in seconds. A celebrity actually featured the brand in a post. So the value wasn't just spotting the spike, it was explaining why it happened. And that's a big one. That gave the team immediate context and the confidence to act while the opportunity was still unfolding. And that's why AI, and that's actually why AI should actually be doing. So close the gap between seeing a change and knowing what to do next. And next slide. Okay, so the final step here is taking action once you identify the opportunity. So a lot of brands spend heavily to drive traffic, heavily, and identify the friction point and then still lose revenue because too much of the traffic remains anonymous or unaddressed, just making it harder to bring them back. So that's why recovery is just as important as the diagnosis. And this is where tools like Triple Whale's Sonar Send really comes in. So when someone visits your website, they don't always make a purchase or fill out a form. Traditionally, those visitors can remain anonymous, making it really difficult to continue the conversation. And tools like Sonar Send uses identity resolution to identify more of those visitors and automatically sync them into tools like Klaviyo, where they can either enter the right email and SMS flows. And the benefit is really simple here. Instead of letting valuable traffic disappear, you can re-engage those visitors and recover the revenue that would have otherwise been lost. Because finding opportunity is only half the battle. The real value comes from acting on it. Okay, so next slide. And then a great example of this in action is Origin, so an American-made premium lifestyle brand. So they identified that revenue is slipping through the cracks. And this is crazy. So not because they weren't driving traffic, but because too many visitors were just leaving without becoming customers and they couldn't identify them. So using Triple Whale to identify anonymous visitors and automatically follow up with them, Origin recovered $450,000 in incremental revenue from traffic they've already paid to acquire. And the best part, the entire setup just took about an hour. So the lesson here, very simple. Driving traffic is really, really expensive. If you're already paying to bring someone to your site, every additional visitor you can identify and re-engage becomes an opportunity to generate more revenue without increasing ad spend. So find that leak is step one. Closing that leak is what actually is going to now drive the growth. Okay, and slide 13. A lot of slides. Okay, so I am about to wrap up. But the bigger lesson isn't about just recovering lost revenue. It's about building a system that helps you consistently find opportunities, validate them, and then act faster on them. So when you put all these pieces together, they're now this more complete picture emerges. So you got behavioral tools like heat map that shows you where customers are getting stuck, measurement tools like Triple Wheel's Compass, which combines that marketing mix modeling, incrementality, and attribution, helps you to understand which channels are actually driving growth. And then we got our tools like Mobi AI, which surface the most important insights and helps you decide what action to take next. So together, these tools helps you answer those three critical questions. Where's the opportunity? Can we trust the signal? And what should we do next? That's powerful because it helps team focus on what matters instead of chasing every spike, dip, and dashboard alert. So instead of asking, what does each platform say? Teams can now ask, where is the biggest opportunity? Is it real? And what is the highest impact action we can take this week? And that is much, much more effective way to drive growth. And my last slide. So if today's session was helpful, there are a few resources to help to continue today's journey. So the first is that speed playbook I mentioned today, which does include the examples we covered today, along with some additional stories of how brands are using data and AI to move faster and make smart decisions. We also offer a free, yes, free Founders dashboard. It's just a really quick setup to give you a simple way to strengthen your measurement foundation, understand your data more clearly, and also just get a feel for how Triple Whale can simplify decision making. And of course, if you'd like to continue the conversation, feel free to reach out to me directly. I will drop all the links in the chat. Thank you so much for joining.
Amazing, Aaron. Thanks so much. Yeah, I wrote hashtag not sponsored. Big fan of Sonar. I may or may not have an ecom brand myself as well and be a Triple L customer. So yeah, big fan. Amazing. Who we got next up in here? We got Concio. Awesome. So let's take it away, Nigel. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Were
All
you
right.
born for
Thanks.
this? Wait, chat. I need something. I need something from this chat right now. Bring it up, bring it up. And it can't be Karina either because she's hosting the damn thing. Chat, I need like okay, there we go. Thank you, S.
Go.
Clark. Beauty. Let's do it.
All right, everyone. We've got a really fun one today. We've got a celebrity cameo from a very animated, oftentimes angry British celebrity chef. We've got a brand doing more revenue on the phone than they do through their Klaviyo, and we got screenshots to prove it. So grab your favorite workday beverage. Mine is a White Monster. If you haven't had White Monster, it's kind of like a more nuclear version of Fresca. And let's get into the topic, and that is phone, the final frontier for e-commerce. That's a Star Trek reference, but really the analogy is you'd be hard pressed to find an area on your e-commerce site with the prevalence of so much legacy tooling, lack of AI agents that really understand your e-commerce context and store. So to set the stage a little bit, let's chat about the state of e-commerce phone in 2026. So if you do have a phone number on your site, teams are often overwhelmed by the call volume. Calls are going unanswered and untracked. Revenue impact is invisible, and your phone systems are often disconnected from your e-commerce stack. If you go to the next slide, Dylan, this is for people who don't have a phone number on their website, and it's like, why would I want to open up this can of worms in the first place? Like a lot of people hide it, they take it away. Like this conversation, we're going to go through what the data says about why have a phone number on your e-commerce site and what is the opportunity that comes with it, and what are some of the cool things that you can do in 2026. So first of all, phone is a huge trust signal for hesitant shoppers. There's tons of e-commerce stores online. Trust of online shoppers is a very important thing to maintain. That screenshot on the right was actually from a brand before they came to Concio. They tested having a phone number visible versus not. A/B tested. The phone line didn't even go anywhere. If someone tried to call it, it would be like boop boop, number is not in service. But just the visibility of it, they saw a 2.6% uplift in conversion rate when the phone number was shown. So when customers do call, that's when the conversion metrics get super interesting and it starts to skyrocket. So if you go to the next slide. Really, the most valuable customers are the ones who call. We have revenue attribution in Concio for inbound calls, and they're converting between 25 to 50% or even higher when someone answers the phone for a shopper. So someone's made it to, your website, they're clearly interested, but something about your FAQs, something that they're unsure about is prompting them to call. And if you don't have that phone number, you could lose out on that traffic. These are shoppers with objections. They have urgency. I need it delivered by this date. I need to confirm. And they all have purchase intent if they made it to your site. So each missed call can represent a missed sales opportunity. This is a brand Cheech and Chong. It is the same dudes who had the Stoner TV show in the 90s. They have a phone number on their website. What really sticks out is 50%, 50.8% conversion rate when they answer the phone. So meaning for every two people that call, one of those calls leads to a sale. A lot of e-commerce brands aren't even tracking phone attribution. Super unfortunate to a lot of CX teams who are already putting in that work and like are unable to show on a dashboard like, hey, here is the amount of conversions and sales that like our team has influenced. If you hit the next slide here, this is just a screenshot of their Concio dashboard. So year to date, almost 700K in sales from inbound calls. And then you can see on that little funnel there of 10,762 calls that were answered. Almost half of those, or is that over half? Almost half of those year to date have contributed to sales. So super cool. Yeah, and like the good thing is, don't play the video quite yet. There's that celebrity cameo I was talking about. Is now in 2026, you can let AI do the brunt of the work for you on inbound calls. So AI agents that are built for Shopify, they can leverage your e-commerce data to handle not just the post-purchase support. Where is my order? Oh, here's your order status. I'm going to send you a tracking link by SMS, all handled by AI. How do I manage my subscription? But also, like, if you're going to have the phone number on the site, people are going to call pre-purchase looking for help and answers to questions. And you want something that is on brand, and that's going to guide, qualify, maybe ask some questions back to the shopper and be able to sell in your brand's voice. And of course, with AI, the beauty is it's 24/7, no missed calls. You don't have to worry about that, 50% human answer rate. You can answer 100% of your e-commerce calls when someone's shopping. So, as a little experiment, I took a cookware brand. They have Gordon Ramsay as their brand ambassador. I loaded just their website. Like this wasn't even connected to Shopify, and I started to ask it some pre-purchase questions. So if you go ahead and run maybe like a minute of that video.
Thanks for calling HexClad. This is Gordon. How can I help you?
Yeah, hey, I'm looking to buy a gift for my son. He's really interested in smash burgers. Do you have anything that would be a good gift for him?
Smash burgers are awesome, and we've got some perfect gear for that. Let me ask, is your son cooking these at home on a stovetop, or is he more into grilling them outdoors?
Yeah, maybe something I can use either on a stove or out on the grill.
Perfect. For smash burgers, I'd recommend our hybrid griddle pan. It's a 13-inch pan that works great on the stovetop for getting that perfect sear and crust. And it's also barbecue safe up to 900 degrees, so you can take it right out to the grill too. It's $159. We also have a double burner griddle.
You're muted, sir.
What's cool about the end of that call too is it actually offers to send me a draft order, reads my email back to me, says like, yep, you'll find that invoice in your inbox. And that's how AI is able to sell pre-purchase on your site without having to add, any net new headcount to answer all of those calls. Flip to the next slide. What some top phone optimized brands are doing is they're actually scaling these phone engagements proactively. So this is like your real human phone team. You can seek out like a partner like David at Talent Pop to provide the human agents to execute this strategy. I know he's going to get into it a little bit, but what we're allowing brands to do is sync a Shopify or Klaviyo segment with an outbound dialer to turn these phone conversations into a new owned retention channel. So think people who abandoned their checkout and they never called you. You can now call them, leave a voicemail, and just let them know that you're here to support if they need help with anything. Why does this work so well in e-commerce? Well, think to brick and mortar. Think about like Home Depot, for example. They might have a few people behind the service desk, like answering questions, like doing returns and customer service. The rest of them are in the orange aprons. They're out on the floor. They're approaching customers, making sure they have what they need, and it works in e-commerce as well. Now you can do your churn subscribers, VIP win backs. You can do your B2B or trade program customers. Yep, you can call. Question in the chat. You can send them texts as well. And phone calls and texts from your support team do not require marketing opt-in, which is great. Super effective strategy to scale. This is a brand that's been working with us for about a year and a half now. You can see in that screenshot, they're actually doing more revenue over the phone than they attribute to their whole Klaviyo instance. And this is a brand that does like $10 million a year. 1.79 million in phone sales year to date. When they call their checkout abandoners and reach them, almost 19% conversion rate at a pretty great AOV. And 65K in revenue so far has been converted by their AI agent after hours, just like that call that we just played. So if this is interesting for you at all, if you have a phone number on your site and you've got some legacy tools in the stack, or you think it could be a net new channel for your business, scan the QR code. It's my personal calendar. I'll buy you lunch. We can chat about it. We'll set up your AI agent for you to test at no cost. If you do want to move forward, we do white glove phone porting and onboarding. You'll have a Slack channel with us, a CSM. And if you're stuck with a legacy phone provider, AirCall, Dialpad, RingCentral 5.9, we'll buy out your contract so switching doesn't cost you. And that is my speed run presentation there. So if we have any questions, happy to handle it in the chat, but maybe we let David get started and I'll take those questions in the chat.
That was legendary. Also, great software. Super cool. Never seen it before. So sorry. But not sorry. Amazing work. David, you good, sir?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nigel. Thank you, Dylan. I'm David Noller. I'm the AI Implementation Success Manager here at Talent Pop. And a little bit about us. We partner with e-commerce brands to build and run AI and CX operations. And what I want to talk about today, it's really the piece that ties everything you've just heard together. You know, how you actually capture the revenue once AI clears the path. So we'll move right into it. Next slide, please.
Oh, there we go. What? That is freaking out.
No worries. Well, as you heard today, e-commerce brands, you know, they have more data, more tools, and more AI than ever before. You can see where revenue is leaking. You know what to prioritize, and you have AI removing friction in real time across the funnel. But the gap we generally see is that, you know, with all of that insight and all that prioritization and all of the friction removal, it still has to land somewhere. Someone or something, they still have to be at the end of the funnel capturing the revenue. And that's the layer that I think most brands may not have built yet. The operational human plus AI system that turns all of these signals and insights into actual revenue recovered, customers retained, and actual sales made. And that's what Talent Pop does. That's what the next 12 minutes are about. Next slide, please. So starting with the question, you know, how does your brand measure your CX team right now? And if your answer are things like closed tickets, average handle time, CSAT score, first response time, you're not wrong. Those are real metrics and they most certainly matter. But what the metrics don't capture are customers that put $180 worth of product in their cart and walked away without buying, or a subscriber who emailed to cancel. You know, a person asking about a return who actually might just want a different size. And they don't capture like the post-purchase customer who would have bought again if somebody had reached out at the right moment. And every one of these, it's a revenue moment. And in most e-commerce brands, these moments, they happen hundreds of times every single day, and nobody's capturing them. So that is what we're here to fix. Next slide, please. There we go. So the model we built here at Talent Pop, it's three layers working together. You know, layer one is the AI agent, and its job is definitely volume. Repetitive, high frequency stuff that doesn't need a human. Order status and tracking, first response and triage, and then also AI can do shopping recommendations. So AI handles that, you know, 24/7 instantly at scale without anyone on your team ever touching it. And layer two is the CX team. You know, this is where Talent Pop is different from, you know, just deploying an AI tool. Our agents, we're not training them to just handle support. They're trained to spot and act on revenue opportunities in every single interaction. So like a customer asking about a safe, you know, the agent helps them, recommends a watch winder, a jewelry tray that complements it, or maybe a customer is reaching out about a shipping delay. You know, agents are there to help resolve and save the relationship. And we do have a client of ours, a premium home security brand that runs these monthly sales competitions across their entire team. And their Talent Pop CX agent consistently ranks as the top revenue producer, which is beating the own brand's internal team every month. And this is just a regular CX agent who was trained the right way. And the final layer we'll dive into a little bit further is the brand concierge. And these people are dedicated revenue specialists that go even further. Things like abandoned cart recovery, cancellation saves, subscription recovery, and post-purchase outreach. You know, these brand concierge specialists are the amplifiers. So, you know, AI clears the path, basically. The team captures the revenue. The brand concierge maximizes it. And we'll kind of dive into each one of these on the next slide.
Oh, that.
So putting some numbers to the AI layer, I think it's the foundation everything sits on. You know, when an AI agent is configured properly with the right guidance, generally you are going to see those 99% faster response times compared to a human-only team, as well as resolution times 8 times faster. And it's not uncommon for automation rates to be as high as 50 to 70%. And two brands that kind of show what this is like in practice are Sachin and Bobby, who have a 68% automation rate. They're using the shopping assistant in Gorgeous, and it's influencing a pretty significant amount right now, 33%. And we also have an automotive brand that's hitting 53%. And they're two different brands, two different models, but it's the same result. You know, AI is handling the volume so the human team can focus on what matters. And going on to the next slide. So when AI frees up the CX team, the capacity, it doesn't disappear, it gets redirected. And that's what this slide is about. There's two human layers working together. The first we mentioned are the revenue trained CX team, and that's something that, Talent Pop does differently from day one. And the second layer, diving further into the brand concierge, it's a role that we created at Talent Pop, and this is specifically for brands that want to go beyond support and turn CX into an active revenue channel. And you can think of these folks as like the dedicated revenue specialist embedded inside your customer experience operation. Their job isn't necessarily to close tickets, it's just to have these proactive conversations that recover and generate revenue. Abandoned cart outreach, cancellation saves, all of these things. And what it looks like in practice, a customer emailing to cancel their subscription, we can have AI triage it, identify the intent, pull the order history, and route it to a brand concierge specialist. And this specialist will reach out, not with a script, but with real context. Maybe a personalized offer or a product swap, maybe a discount, or maybe it's just a genuine check-in. And some of those, they do save, and the ones that do, it represents revenue that was really headed towards zero. So the CX team, it's already generating revenue. The brand concierge maximizes it. And on the next slide, we'll show you what it looks like. So we have a brand in the men's jewelry space, been running a brand concierge, and their monthly average right now is $140,000 in revenue generated directly through CX interactions. And this isn't from marketing or paid ads. This is revenue that came out of conversations that were already happening anyway. And we have another brand running the same model, $189,000 a month, every single month. And on the next slide, I'll show you one more thing because I think it's where it gets really interesting. When the AI is handling tier one volume, you have your brand concierge recovering revenue. You've created something most brands don't have, and that is spare capacity inside a trained, dedicated team. And here at Talent Pop, we've taken that capacity and built an entirely new specialist role for it, what we call an influencer marketing specialist. And these people own the TikTok and UGC program end to end, creator sourcing and vetting, high volume outreach, negotiation, performance tracking, all of this handled by a dedicated specialist. And we have a wellness brand that ran this program for a single week. With $27,000 in total spend, they generated $126,000 in net GMV, activating 583 creators and 985 videos. So that's what happens basically when you stop using your team to just close tickets and start using them to generate revenue. The capacity, it was always there, but AI just helps to give it back. And on the next slide, I just want to leave you with something practical. 4 steps here. Let AI handle tier one. If you're not already running an AI agent on your help desk, that is absolutely the starting point, I would say. And step 2, build that revenue trained CX team. The piece that most brands miss. Support agents, they shouldn't just be closing tickets. They should be trained to spot and act on revenue opportunities in every single interaction. And step 3, deploy a brand concierge. Once the CX team is revenue trained, the concierge is really the amplifier. And step 4, I think this is most important, is just change how you measure CX. Add revenue generated, CX conversion rate, average order value. The moment you start measuring your CX team like a revenue channel, they will start operating like one. And finally, the CX team, they're already sitting on revenue. Every abandoned cart, cancellation, every post-purchase conversations, those aren't support tickets, they're sales opportunities. And AI helps give you the capacity to capture them. And moving on to the next slide, if you want to talk about what any of this looks like for your specific brand, whether it's an AI agent setup, the CX team, brand concierge, influencer marketing, we're definitely happy to go deeper. And before I wrap up, I do have one more slide. I do want to make sure that you guys all get the chance to enter our giveaway. You can scan this QR code. You can win a $75 Uber Eats gift card. Should take less than a minute. And if you don't win, the form still gives you an option to request a free CX or AI audit from Talent Pop. And if you're curious to just learn more about how we support 750 top e-commerce brands, you can also fill out the form, and we'd be happy to connect. So that being said, thank you so much for having me, Dylan.
Everyone, my pleasure. I'll leave you with one last thing. Go drink water. It's good for you. And yeah, have a beautiful day. Thanks so much. Aaron, Sarah, Nigel, David, appreciate you guys. Switch to coffee, Nigel. That's got way too much chemicals, dude. It's crazy. Awesome. Pleasure, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.